All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Unidos Unplugged, the podcast where community, culture, and wellness take the spotlight. I am your host, David Villarreal, Unidos contra la Diabetes Outreach Specialist. I'm joined with by my director, Mr. Moises Arjona.
Hello.
And I'm joined with a very special guest, Mr. Reyes Banda.
Hello.
Say hello.
Good afternoon.
And if you want to just tell the people a little bit about yourself, Mr. Banda, what you do,
Sure.
and we can get started from there.
All right. Reyes Banda, Valley native, originally from Far, Texas, registered dietitian. Recently worked in school nutrition and do consults, virtual consults. And yeah, that's a bit about me. I don't know.
Awesome. So something very special about our guest today is he is a registered dietitian, but he is also a type 1 diabetic himself. So he's going to bring a different take into nutrition, his own insight from it, from his own experience, because he's been able to live through it. So if you want to just kind of take the reins from there, kind of, maybe how you started, how you ended up here, and then we'll just kind of get into some topics.
Okay. So normal life, I guess. No diabetes when I was younger. Left for college when I was 18. Around 23 years old, I started losing weight all of a sudden. I remember I was in Houston, University of Houston, and I wanted to major and be an optometrist. I was going through probably my junior year, and then I started losing weight. I thought it was all fine and dandy. I was tired all the time, going to the restroom more often, thirsty all the time, but I thought it was completely normal. I'm 23, invincible, immortal, nothing can hurt me. I'm not even thinking about being my own mortality. I'm bulletproof, right? So I'm going through this month and a half of symptoms. Then Christmas break comes. I come home. Everything's good. I was super, super, super skinny at that point. It didn't raise any eyebrows, I guess, because I was at home and I was drinking probably 3 canned sodas per meal. Something was going on with my body. But by Valentine's Day, I come home. I see my mom and she freaks out and she's like, ¿Qué te pasó? ¿Qué te pasó? I'm like, Mom, what do you mean? I'm eating more than ever and I'm losing weight. Like, This is perfect. She's like, no. ¿Tienes diabetes o tienes sida? That's what she told me. And I was like, oh my God.
Now I'm worried.
Yeah, so like, what do we do now?
Yeah.
So we go to my grandma's house. She brings her glucometer, checks my sugar, 530 or something like that. So I tell my mom, no, Mom, don't worry. I just ate Pop-Tart in a Starbucks, one of those gas station Starbucks. They're full of sugar. I'm like, it's probably that. She's like, no, mijo. Even people with diabetes don't go that high. I mean, without diabetes, they don't go that high. I'm like, oh my God. Next morning, it was Saturday morning, and I didn't have insurance, so we go to Mexico. Luckily, in Rio Bravo, we found an endocrinologist. Gets my lab work, and he tells me type 1 diabetes. And I'm like, what do you mean type 1? Yeah, type 1 diabetes. He's like, here's your prescription for your insulin. Here's this, do this. You're good to go. And I'm like, what do you mean I'm good to go? What do you mean? What do I do now? Like, what is going on?
Right.
And he says, yeah, you're good. So I go buy the insulin. I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm doing. I see insulin and I freak out like most people freak out with the insulin. This horrible stigma that it has. So I tell my mom, hey, Mom, I'm not gonna take it. Because I was going back to Houston on Sunday, and I was like, I'm not going to take it, but I'm going to be by myself. You hear all these horror stories of people dying on the insulin, the hypoglycemias. I'm like, I'm not going to take it. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, no, I'm not going to take it. So then she tells me, okay. I said, I'm going to go get a school doctor and get a second opinion.
Right.
So I go to the school doctor. Very nice lady. She tells me, we can take it slow. It might be type 2. And I'm like, yes, type 2. Right? That means no insulin.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Again, stigma on the insulin. So then I'm there, and then she tests me. But that moment when they told me, I mean, life-changing. You go online and everything you read was just bad things and all the possible, I guess, complications that come with diabetes, right? Very dark world, very dark destiny, very dark end of the road. And we can talk about diabetes, but it's a very, very, very dark disease, and it takes it little by little, but it takes everything from you. So I'm reading, I'm freaking out. I meet this doctor Monday, probably Tuesday. She tells me everything's going to be fine. You can do great. You're type 2. I'm like, okay, type 2. But I changed, the moment they told me, I changed my whole nutrition focus to where I dropped all the carbohydrates, dropped all the sugars, dropped everything that I was doing. And little by little, my sugars started to come down. Now in type 1, there's this little honeymoon phase that they call, where your body still has enough insulin to keep you going for a little bit. And especially if you take control of your nutrition, well, kind of mellows out.
Mm-hmm.
So from an A1C of 13, when I was diagnosed, I took it down to 6.23 or something like that. Doctor was proud of me. She's like, "You're doing great. You're my star patient. You're good." So I graduate, thinking I got this, right? Then come home, start working, and little by little, the days are like I would wake up, instead of waking up at 90 or 105, 105, I'd wake up at 130, 145. My glucose levels, 145, 160. And then if it got to the point where it was 200, I'm like, man, what's going on? So then I went back to what I was doing, right? Like, okay, strict no carbohydrates, exercise, and it would come down when I would do the exercise. Wake up in the morning again, 230, 240. I was like, man, what's going on? I thought I had this under control. But as we'll learn with diabetes, it's never under control, and it's always messing with you, right? So for like 4 or 6 months, probably, I struggled with it up and down, up and down, up and down, until I told my mom, I can't do this anymore. I need help because I can't do it on my own anymore. So then we go to this doctor, famous doctor, again, no insurance, this famous doctor in Matamoros. He had like a 6-month wait for appointments, diabetes specialist. So we go. My mom finds an appointment in the middle of everyone. I don't know how she did it. She got me in. And he tells me about insulin. I'm like, no, insulin. Insulina, no quiero. And he's like, no. Try it. I'm like, no. He's like, here. Small dose, once a day. It changed my life. It made everything so easy. It brought me back to normal levels. One thing we got to understand with diabetes is when your levels aren't, or when you're high, when you suffer from hyperglycemias, nothing works quite as well, especially your brain. So your thoughts are not there. Your motivation is not there.
Yeah.
You want to get up in the morning. It would take me, at that point, before the insulin, 40 minutes to get dressed.
Really?
Man.
And this is something all these practitioners, we got to learn. As practitioners, we got to learn and we got to empathize with. I would put on my pants. I would sit back down in the bed. 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes, 10 minutes. Almost out of breath, just tired, just fatigued, just drained. Put one sock on. Sit back again. Put another sock on. 40 minutes to get dressed. Which now I do it in 4 or 5 minutes, especially if I'm late. Quicker, right? Don't tell my boss. Yeah. I find the insulin. Everything starts working better. By this time, when I'm in insulin, I had graduated from U of H with a biology degree. I want to be a doctor. Never made the grades. I was too focused on being 20-something and living my life, making friends. And I was more worried about making friends than making the grades. So then I go back to school. So when I graduate school, the Houston, I come back home and I'm thinking, I'm going to figure it out. Parallel to this, nutrition comes into your life when diabetes comes into your life. You have to worry everything, every little decision you make about your life, you worry about diabetes, which in turn worries about nutrition, right? Am I going to eat? What am I going to eat? If I'm going to go to a party, what are they going to serve? Am I not going to eat? How am I going to feel? Everything revolves around nutrition. So I learned, or I found out that I liked it. I enjoyed learning about nutrition, not like learning about other subjects that I wasn't too fond of. So I said, I'm going to go back to school and be a dietitian. Okay. I tried going into UTSA. I go there and tried registering. I couldn't. I go meet the VP, department head there. Tell my story. She's like, oh, you're not going to get in. I'm like, what do you mean I'm not getting in? You're not getting in. Like, let me just take one class. I'm motivated. Look at that. I'm all. She's like, you're not getting in. The program at UTSA, I think they call it, I don't know what, the coordinator or something like that. They go from your sophomore year all the way to your master's degree. So they grab you when you're really young. I guess they want students that are kind of fresh and doing good, I guess. They didn't want me. So I come home defeated. And I'm like, what am I going to do now? I find other schools. I find Kingsville. I go to Kingsville. I meet with the advisor. And it was a completely different. He said, hey, come in. We love having post-bac students. Post-bac means you've already had a bachelor's degree. You come back. Let me introduce the professors. Come on, let's go. I felt at home.
Right.
So in that time, I sign up, I go, but class wouldn't start till January. This was around August. So I took 6 months. These 6 months I'm working, whatever, I'm figuring things out with the insulin, with this, with that. But I'm always learning about my body and nutrition and diabetes. And when I get to school, I could only take 2 classes. So it's like, it makes sense that I moved to Kingsville.
Yeah.
So I commuted to Kingsville for a whole year, Monday to Thursday, to and from, about 16 hours a week driving.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
But that time, I probably listened to every podcast there was in diabetes. I probably introspectively learned or thought to myself and experimented with that. Learned about fasting, practiced the fasting, everything that I did in those 16 hours. So it made me really, I guess, take advantage. I took advantage of time, so it made me be ahead of my classmates that were taking Nutrition 1 and Nutrition 2. They were not where I was, I guess. But I took advantage of it because there was small classes, 10 people. I would talk to the professors, bounce ideas off. And it was where I needed to be at that time. All right, so then I go into my master's degree, and I find this school. I didn't get into Kingsville, surprisingly. I thought I was going to be, but I don't know what happened. But Stephen F. Austin and Nacogdoches, they called me, and everything was good. But she offered me, it was a functional nutrition. I was like, man, functional nutrition?
What is that? Never heard of that.
Basically, functional nutrition is you can't really stay away from the guidelines that USDA, not USDA, that's another school nutrition, but I guess the Academy for Nutrition guidelines, you can't stay away, you can't really break them, but you think about nutrition, like food first instead of medicine. That's what functional is. Like you're using supplements and you're using vitamins and minerals. But the idea that she had of thinking outside the box was perfect for me. It was what I needed to hear. Because knowing my body, and I was telling you guys earlier how some dietitians recommend fruit, for example, for people with diabetes, and it's not a good fit, right? You have to question that. Where it's on the guidelines that you can do it, you can recommend fruit, it's fine. Yeah. But as a diabetic, you can tell that it's not really fine because your sugars are going to spike, and you're not going to feel well, and everything's going to go downhill, right? So when I get there, she told us, question everything. So then we go on our rotations for dietitians, and we go to the hospital, and she says, print out a medication list for the patient. Pull out the medication list, 16 medications. She says, look at the first one, and then look at the side effects. I don't know, let's say this medication was for the heart, so side effects, damages kidney, right? Okay, then look at the second medication. Oh, that fixes the kidney, right? So then look at the side effects of that one. Messes with the liver. So then what's the third one for? Fixes the liver. So it's basically a domino effect, and you end up with 15 medications. But no one's talking about, hey, what got you here?
Right.
What are we doing, right? So it was perfect for me. I grew a lot. I learned a lot. I kind of opened my wings there. And it was just what I needed. I became a dietitian. I did a rotation at a diabetes center over there. Within the second day, I was taking patients on my own because I guess I knew a lot about diabetes. And the dietitian that trusted me, and it was great. It was great practice. And then, graduated, got a job at El Milagro. They trusted me without my license yet. I didn't have my license, so they hired me without, which I appreciate the opportunity. But they let me kind of control the creative side of things and trusted me with it. Obviously, always sticking to the Academy Nutrition, the guidelines. But yeah, it was a really good partnership. And then I'm in school nutrition now, and then
Yeah, cool. I mean, I think you so you've given us a loaded summary.
Mm-hmm.
A loaded
I mean,
CV.
it's 10 years.
Yeah, and we're gonna go ahead and ask you a lot of questions. And so I met Reyes back at McAllen Public Library years ago when we were doing a health fair there with UTRGV. They were doing their diabetes fairs and whatnot, and had open to the public. And we were talking to you about type 2 diabetes, and then you had all the answers, and then you're like, no, I don't need to take the test. I'm like, come on. And you're like, I'm a type 1. So I was like, wow. Later on, we find out that you work for Milagro, who's a great partner of ours, and we love you working with them, and we miss you there too. But it all works out. But going back and forth through your story, and I want to talk about a little bit of things, going back from being diagnosed as a type 1, then being a second opinion diagnosing as a type 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think we missed the part there where you were really diagnosed as a type 1 and said, hey, you're a type 1. Because normally you're diagnosed with a type 1 in a very young age. I think the oldest person that we understand or we know that's been diagnosed as a type 1 has been like in their 80s.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, so you actually beat the odds somewhere, right? Your body did some stuff, right? At this age, you peaked in your diagnosis. But I think I also wanted to pick up on, so we can talk a little bit about that, and then let's talk about the fruits. We talk a lot about fruits, and I met someone earlier this year, and she's like, I'm not a diabetic, but they say I'm a diabetic. I eat all the good fruits. I go, what fruits do you eat? Watermelon, mango, and pineapple. And I go, but those are high in sugar. She's like, no, but they're fruits. So again, there's misconceptions about food, right?
It's very cultural. First of all, the Mexican or the Valley culture, we value fruit. So we value the kindness of fruit or the beneficial aspects of fruit. We don't think they can harm you because they're natural.
Right.
We say it's natural.
Sí, natural, todo natural.
But it's not, even though it's natural, everything is natural. Right? What is not natural? Like you told me, is metformin not natural?
Yeah.
I mean, technically, the ingredients they grab, and it might be, I don't know. But everything's natural. Even if it's natural, doesn't mean it's not going to harm you.
Right.
It's still going to, the fructose in the fruit. I've had patients with, and this is very, very against common conception or what people think, but I've had patients with fatty liver that ate fruit, and mostly fruit, and they gave them fatty liver. So you wrap your mind around against what the doctors say, oh no, your fatty liver is caused by saturated fat.
Yeah.
But I'm not having any red meat. All I'm having is fruit every day. So then what's causing, it's the fruit. That fructose has to go into your body has to turn into glucose, and that process there, when you overload it, gives you fatty liver, right? So fruit.
That's crazy.
Fruit, maybe for a person that exercises and takes care of themselves and maybe knows how to portion control really well, perfectly good. For diabetics, very, very careful.
Yeah. So, and just hearing you talk, it's like, and I've used this before. I've always said I'm a bariatric patient. Was I eating to survive or was I just eating to eat, right? And I was eating to eat my stress away. Yeah. That's what I was doing. I wasn't eating to survive, and that's a whole different concept to look at things.
Oh, it's a very deep subject, very misunderstood subject. I'm passionate about the way the people the way they interact with food or the way it drives them to being overweight or like what's killing you. I think you know what got you to the dance, right? Why you're here. But we can't let go of the drug, right? I have a friend, I won't say his name, but he's 400 pounds, maybe 380.
We'll go 400. We round up. We use Moses' math. That's Moses' math.
For dramatic purposes.
Yeah.
For the story.
And before that, come back. I'll put that in a pause. Let me tell a story. So, I was working in a restaurant, right, over a weekend, and I noticed there were a lot of group of girls and big groups of girls. But in the groups over, there's always like one or two bigger girls, right? And I didn't notice. I noticed the servers had picked up on a pattern. They're like, oh, you know what she asked for? Chicken and waffles. You know what she asked for? Chicken and waffles. And it was always the same stereotype would ask for the same plate. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking, okay, wait, there's a pattern here. They knew. She's like, oh, I know what I was going to get chicken and waffles. I'm like, what do you mean? How do you know? They pick up on a pattern. So I'm bouncing it off with my wife, and I'm telling the story. How do they know what they're going to order? Like, why is it a pattern there? Yeah. And she tells me, she's like, maybe they're afraid they're not going to feel full or satisfied with the smaller plate or with a different plate. So they pick the bigger plate, right? Like, I've never felt that. Like, I've never been afraid to not, well, maybe I have, but not to extent where, like, I don't know. Never thought about it that way, right? That mind frame. So then I have my friend, bring him back in the story. And I ask him, hey brother, do you know why they might have said this, why they might have done this? And he's like, yeah, That's exactly right. They weren't. They felt afraid they weren't gonna be full. That's what he thought, right? He was telling me, and then he told me a story. He's in Houston with his wife. They go to a concert. Get out of the concert. Have dinner. They get to the hotel room. 11:30, 12, I don't know. He looks around. He's in bed. He looks around. There's no food. No one thought about getting snacks. There's no food in the room. He's like, dude, I freaked out. I got up. I drove to the gas station. I bought milk, cereal, this, that, cookies, whatever I could or whatever I wanted, right? Brings it back to the room. He's like, I did not eat it. I just had it in the room. I just needed to have it in the room, right? And listening to other people, similar situation happens with cigarettes. They don't need to smoke them. They just need to have them in their pockets, right? As long as I have them, I can hold on, right? Add addiction pathways, I think.
Yeah.
Right? But no, we don't talk about this addiction pathway. We are very kind of not lighthearted, but
Or dismissive.
dismissive with people that go through this because maybe we don't go through that, right? Maybe I can go to bed. There's no food. We'll figure it out tomorrow. Like, it's fine. But that feeling of getting up, driving midnight, coming back, just having the food in the room. I mean, to me, that's very powerful. And to me, speaks there's layers to this.
Yeah.
And it's very hard. It's not a one pill fixes everything.
Yeah.
It's very different approach. It has to be individualized and personal, and a lot of therapy-like sessions. And I'm not saying therapy, but therapy-like sessions you end up having because there's a lot of mental side that goes into this. But yeah, it's deeper than we think it is. It's not as simple as having fruit or whatever. It's personality based. I don't know, genetic. We can blame the hormones. We can blame a lot of factors, right? But yeah, it's very interesting. And as a dietitian, you have to find the why, right?
The why.
Why it's happening.
Right.
So what can we do to,
Yeah,
mitigate?
and I think it goes back to that part of we all have a different relationship with food, and what does that mean, right? So, for example, when I did my bariatric surgery, before my bariatric surgery, oh man, junk food galore, and junk food is snacks, Cheetos, Fritos, all flavors and colors, and there's always stuff in the refrigerator, M&Ms, you name it, you name it. After the surgery, you have to do a whole different lifestyle change.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to invite your family to be part of that journey with you. And if your family is not part of that journey, then we have to make some changes. 17 years, or that's where I'm at. 17 years with my post-op surgery, I've been a success. But I do battle with prediabetes and all this kind of stuff. But I know what the problem is. I have a sweet tooth. I just love sweet. I love sugar. Sugar loves me, and I love sugar. But when my nieces or nephews go to my house and open the pantry, there's nothing here to eat. No, there is. It's just all healthy stuff. It's all healthy stuff.
Not so fun.
Yeah, it's not so fun foods, right? And how do we change that mentality, right? It's just really hard. It's really hard.
It's a lot of introspection, a lot of what do you want to battle with, right? Do I want to battle with not having it in the house and just kind of being miserable mentally for a while and not having the craving that I want? Because I think it's doable. I mean, if you can fight it. A lot of people go through stages where they, I'm going to say, sober up or get clean. Like, hey, I've been doing a diet for a month and I've been feel great. And then they relapse. And then you see this yo-yo effect where they're like, they gain twice the weight, right? So it's a battle with yourself. Dietitians are here to help. I think we're not used enough having substitutes for the snack, like you're saying. Maybe the healthy stuff is not the fun stuff, right? Just venting to someone, hey, this is how I felt. I can't believe I drove up in the middle of the night. It's embarrassing, but I did it. Hey, next time, maybe let's take a snack with you. You can. I always tell patients, if you don't prepare, you're gonna lose the battle because if you're hungry, you're not thinking straight, right? So if you don't meal prep, if you don't buy the right things, if you don't control your factors or the outside factors, you're gonna lose the battle, right? Whether that means having dinner before going to the party, because at the party there's gonna be nothing good, right? Taking salads to the carne asada, right? Hey, I brought the salad instead of the chips.
Yeah.
At least you have something you want to eat or you can eat, right? Let's say you want to eat it.
Right.
Instead of just being there and like, oh, no one brought salad. I guess I'm having chips again.
Yeah.
So as long as if you're in control, you're gonna win. If you're not in control, odds are you're not gonna win. Because it's fun misbehaving, and with food, it gives you. I always tell people something happened with me and bread. I don't have it often, but when I do, it's like it hugs me. It's just warm, and it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I understand similar feelings. But if I don't have the bread at home, but I'm not going to eat it, right? So if someone brings bread, I might take a little piece and I'm like, oh, so good, have another piece.
Right.
And then I can't control myself, right? So being in control, I think it's the best part you can do or what you can do.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting that you say bread because that's one of my weaknesses. And I went to eat at this restaurant this weekend with a friend of mine, and the bread was so good. But I said, okay, I had two pieces of bread. If I continue, I'm not gonna be able to enjoy my meal because I'm gonna fill. I mean, I only have a small pouch.
Yeah.
Like that's all I got. So I need to either bread. Or it's gonna be real food because later on I'm gonna have a sugar low. It's gonna just drop me real bad. But I think one of the things that I'm using the word food trauma because that's what it's come to. And I learned that David wasn't with us back then, but we did a presentation. And you know me, I'm very blunt, I'm very straightforward, and I say things off the cuff. And I don't expect to offend anyone because I think they would know how I am. But I did end up offending someone because we have a misconception also about thin people and overweight, obese people, right? We always have this misconception. So at one point I said, anybody have questions? I already knew this person went from the main group to a corner wall. So I already knew this person was upset. I already knew that I just ruined it. And she told us a story that was really made me look at things in retrospective and look at it differently. And one of the story was, I don't know when not to eat anymore. And I'm like, well, tell us the story. She goes, when we were growing up, we didn't have a refrigerator. And we didn't know we were going to have food the next day. So whatever mom cooked, we had to finish it. And if that meant having 3 bowls, 4 bowls of food, we had to eat it. Fast forward to where she's at now. She has a stable job. She has a nice home. She has a refrigerator. She still eats the same way. Yeah. And it's hard. So now we're talking about what's the root cause of this problem, how to change that mindset. And at one point, is your eating killing you?
It definitely is killing you, I think. If you do it with that mindset of like, I'm going to eat till it's gone, there's no way, especially now with the ingredients we're using, the processed foods and how palatable it is and how good it tastes and how addictive it is, it's gonna happen, right? It might not kill you now, but 15 years down the line where you're in dialysis, it's gonna happen, right? Yeah. And I don't like to speak about the complicated diabetes. I don't like the scare tactics, but it does happen, right?
I like the scare tactics, by the way. Because I don't know. Sometimes you're right. There's two trains of thought. We don't want to give you the scare tactic because it's gonna really shut you down, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the other part is just give you the educational part. But for the last 4 years that we've been at UCD, we've been doing the education, and this year I just finally said no. Put out the foot with all the ulcers in there. Mm-hmm. Put out the teeth. Put the glaucoma and the retinopathy and put the no teeth. Just do it all. Mm-hmm. We're still having pushback from the staff who don't want to fully commit to it, but I understand it, right?
I with that sense, and we can probably pick up the other subject in a little bit, but with that sense, I am very close to my heart. When I got diagnosed, I told you everything was doom and gloom. Nothing seemed like there was a hope.
There was no
hope anywhere. If you go online right now and search diabetes, all you're gonna find is complications. Yes. I guarantee you, right? Doctors, bless their hearts, all they talk about is complication. They don't open doors. They just close doors, right? So when I decided I wanted to be a dietitian, I decided, hey, I'm gonna hold these people's hands, and there's this doom and gloom, and I'm gonna show them there is a way. I'm gonna show them you can do it. I'm gonna open the doors instead of closing them, right? I'm not gonna say, hey, you can't have cake. I'm gonna say, hey, here's how do you have cake. Right. Hey, let's do it this way. Sure, it might not be half the cake like you were eating right now, but hey, we're enjoying it, right? Yeah. We're enjoying it, and you're not the person saying, hey, I can't have the cake because I'm diabetic or I'm on a diet or whatever. You're enjoying it your way, right? So I decided I was going to do that, and I decided I wasn't going to scare them because I didn't like the doom and gloom.
Enjoy it your way. We need to catch that and put it in. Enjoy it your way.
I think that might be Burger King's.
Is it
have it your way?
I think so.
Hey, we're changing it.
Yeah, we'll change it a little bit.
Yeah, enjoy your way the way you need to enjoy, right? The way I'm gonna say need it or want to, right? Because also, what do you want, right? But yeah. So I always talk about the way you can fix this and not the way it's gonna it's gonna end up that way. And I do, like you, get the ya estuvo, no?
Right.
You're not listening to the hope and butterflies and flowers.
Yeah.
We got to show you some doom and gloom and show
Right.
you the truth of it, right? Take off the little facade and show you what's gonna happen,
Right.
which it will happen.
Right.
Now, medicine nowadays has got us to a point where you can go 20, 25 years, 30 years without really suffering serious complications, depending on how much you take care of yourself, but it's still going to happen. And then within those 25 years or 20 years, I want you to think about the quality of life you're having.
Yeah.
Those 40-minute mornings getting dressed, sure, it was 20 years, but 40 minutes getting dressed, being out of breath, being fatigued, getting up in the middle of the night 3-4 times. I had patients that told me 8 times. You're not even sleeping at 8
I was
times.
gonna say.
Waking up every hour. If you're going to bed, because diabetes messes with your sleep time.
Yeah.
And it messes with everything, right? So, of you arguing with someone in traffic, of you arguing with your wife, with your husband, with your kids, maybe not being friends with anybody, right? No one talks about the emotional load diabetes causes on you, right? If your sugar's high, you regular things. So you get a haircut, it's like, hey, I didn't like your hair, man. Normal day, you'd be like, yeah, whatever, bro. The guy messed up. I'll get it next time, right? When your sugar's high, it feels personal. It feels like they stabbed you in the heart. Like, oh my God, I can't believe he told me that. I can't believe he said that. Why would he say this? Does he hate me now? It's not your brain, because your brain works fine, right? But the high sugar in your body probably puts you in a
Makes you like more irritable, you'd say.
Well, it puts you
irritable
in
and emotional, right?
emotional.
Wow.
So, but think about, 25 years. Yeah, sure, you're gonna live and be there with the grandkids. You're not gonna want to see them. You're gonna be irritable and be 25 years. But that quality of life, how do you want to live those 25 years? And if you get that.
Yeah, and so yeah, so I there's it's not necessarily a misconception, but it's one of those things where sometimes when someone's sugar is out of control. They're diabetic, they know it, they're uncontrolled, they want to do it their own way, but they become super irritable, and anything sets them off. And I already know, I have a group of friends, and when I just the tone of the voice of the greeting, I'm like, okay, you're walking around eggshells, bro. Don't say nothing, because you're gonna ruin someone's life, or they're gonna ruin yours.
It's a weird feeling. Like I said, it goes all the way from emotional to angry to, everything just kind of, how do I say that? Everything exponential, right? Everything goes bigger, right? So and at home, my wife can tell. She's like, your sugar's high. I'm like, what do you mean? How do you know? She's like, you're making the face. I'm like, what face? And then she can tell. She, like you're saying, like the tone.
Yeah.
You're quieter. You're not as talkative.
Yeah.
You're angry at traffic. You're angry at this. You're blowing up with your wife. You're not sleeping well. All these little things happen, right? But yeah, the way you feel certainly is. And the reason why I got into being a dietitian, funny story. When I got diagnosed, my mom, bless her heart, she went out and wanted to find a cure. Scour the earth. We found a dietitian in Monterrey, in San Pedro, one of the big, good dietitians, expensive. We go, my parents make the sacrifice, they take me, and I meet this lady, and everything went perfect. She said all the right words, like, you're going to be fine, all those muscle tone you lost, you're going to gain back, and we're going to put you on this, you're going to eat this food. But at the end, my dad asked, hey, is it true that diabetics, they're angry because their sugars are high? He said in Spanish, like, porque sí es cierto que se enojan por azucarados, right? And we use, ahí te azucaraste, we use that phrase a lot, right?
Yeah.
And then she says, no, they're just frustrated because they can't have cake. Which, and by looking back at it, it was a joke, right?
Right.
But I took it too hard so much, and maybe my sugars were had that day, I don't know. But I said, I'm going to be a dietitian. I'm not going to tell people those bad jokes, right?
Right.
But it is true. Now that after I understood everything, and 10 years later, I can't tell her she was right. Like, you do get frustrated. That comes with it. Your sugars are high, and you do get angry, and you do get emotional. And that happens as well. But yeah, personal relationships do get impacted by diabetes. I do tell people this because it does happen, right? And I see it with patients with their wives and their husbands. They're like, por eso haces esto, por eso haces lo otro.
And it's hard. I'm sorry.
No, so I just, because I know I don't want to forget it. So with so many misconceptions, and you're saying, like, I'm not gonna be that. I'm not gonna be like that. How do you tackle it? Like, give us a little bit of insight.
More
on that.
from the empathetic side, more coming from like, hey, I understand where you're coming from, right? Even just looking at the numbers, right? I see your A1C. I know exactly where you're at. I know what you're struggling with. I know how you're feeling. I know the irritable. I know how much. I know if it happens, that's you're at a 7, right? And you're controlled, quote unquote. But I know after you eat, you're not gonna feel good because your sugar's at, let's say, 150, 160. After you eat, we're looking at 260 because you're not probably watching. You're not being the best, right? So then you're not gonna feel for a couple hours, 3 hours while the medicine does its thing. You're not gonna feel like yourself. And I know this is gonna happen because I've been there. I've been from 13 to 5.9, 5.8 through all the spectrum, right? I've had my ups and downs. It's not an easy disease. It's a progressive disease. Every year is harder. There's things you got to worry about. Insulin resistance happens. Even though I'm injecting insulin, doesn't work quite as well. It doesn't work the way doctors tell you it's going to work. There's a lot of misconception that we can talk about. But yeah, for sure, coming from a place of understanding, a place of living in, a place of, hey, I know where you're at. I can help you get out of there. I'll hold your hand. I guess that's why I wanted to do this, and that's why I do it.
Yeah, and I think that was what I was going to say is, having it firsthand and living through the experience and understanding what they're going through, you have a way of talking to people. Because I'm not gonna be able to have the same interaction with them. They're not gonna be able to relate, and I can't relate with them. Mm-hmm. And it's just one of those things where you're able to phrase it in such a way that they're like, hey, this guy gets me.
I hope I am, and I hope I do. I have little tricks on my sleeve where a lot of patients, they don't want to accept it. They don't want to, hey, all this. They don't believe that all these complications or these symptoms come with it because they've never heard them before, right? But they do happen, and when I name them, the certain symptoms that they don't know exist, their eyes look at me like, "How do you know?" Like, because I've been there, right? I've been there. Going through school, I went to a Texas Agri-Life Extension, and lucky for me that week they had diabetes class. I show up and I tell my story to the preceptor, and he's like, "Hey, why don't you take over tomorrow?" I'm like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I was motivated. I was like, "I'll do it, right? I'll do it right now." Take over the class. 6, 7 people. Free class, so low-income people, mostly older generation, type 2s. And the first question I get is, are you diabetic? Like questioning why I was there, right? Questioning if I even knew. And I said, yeah, I am diabetic. And I can tell you, and I told my story, and they immediately shifted from like questioning me to like listening to me. Right. So I understood that those were where I needed to go, and that's where I go. And ultimately, it's from a place of love and self-love, and taking care of me helps me take care of them because I know what works, what doesn't work. Obviously, I misbehave sometimes and, have too much fun, but...
It's normal. We all do that. I mean, you have a lot of passion in your work. And one of the things, when I was doing my, preparing for my bariatric, I was about 380, 400 pounds, my bariatric surgery. I did a lot of research. I asked a lot of people to tell me, but I did the gastric sleeve, not the bypass. Mm-hmm. So I asked a lot of people about the gastric bypass, and they all told me it was a great experience, beautiful experience. They made it seem like, dude, it's just the best thing ever. But I was afraid of it because of the hard wiring that they do with it, right? They really disconnect your gut and put it direct and all this type of stuff. And I was like, nah. Then a few years later, we had the gastric sleeve introduced into the Rio Grande Valley. I signed up. I'm a candidate. And guess what? There's a lot of complications. No one tells you. So then I went back to the people with gastric bypass. And they're like, oh, yeah. I go, then why didn't you tell me? Why didn't anybody tell me? One of my friends said, you mutilated your body to achieve healthiness, but now I see people who have the willpower. I just didn't have the willpower to fight with food. Yeah. And I wish people would be honest with me. So now when people ask me about bariatric surgery, I say, okay, get ready, sit down, let's talk about it. Mm-hmm. And they're like, you know what? Let me try it on my own. Let me lose it on my own.
I work with a lot of bariatric patients now, and I do have a couple of family members close to home that they did have the surgery, and at first I didn't understand why they would do it. I'm like, why would you want to mutilate your body? And me coming from the science or learning about it in school, you're like, well, all these complications come with it. Why would you do that? But then as I went into the career, I learned and I listened to people. And listening, I think, probably is the best thing you can do in these cases is, sure, they had the complications. They still have them, dumping syndrome to this day, and they learn to live with it. And some people even go back for a second surgery, and it is what it is, and they have their own battles. But what a lot of people have in common is they tell you it's the best decision I made in my life. Yeah. I don't understand why, because I haven't had it, or I don't have it. But the life they get after they have a surgery, the glow in their eyes, the way they can, when they fit a new shirt or when they fit a new size, and they're like, oh my God, I haven't been this size since I was in high school, I was in whatever, right? I think it makes it worth it. I'm a lot more open-minded than a lot of people are in that sense. So I support a lot of people, maybe wrongly. I don't know the long-term complications. There's not a lot of data with long-term complications. Right. You were one of the early ones. You jumped in that bandwagon quick. But I understand if they're willing to put your body through those complications. And I can't imagine the other side, right? I can't imagine where you're coming from.
Right. And I think, so for me, it wasn't about an aesthetic look. It wasn't about looking, I was diabetic, you could tell right away I had the ankylosing snicker, and I couldn't walk half a mile without going out of breath. I was super fat. Estaba gordo. I had high blood pressure, high cholesterol, you name it. I was on a ton of medications. For me, what made me want to do the surgery was that my dad had been diagnosed with Parkinson's. And he was at the point where we needed to care for him, to the point where changing diapers and all that stuff. And I said to myself, again, I was working at Valley Baptist in Harlingen, seeing what happens to patients. I said, if I get a stroke, who's going to put a diaper on me? Yeah. And again, I go to the doom and gloom, just like the first thing I go with, worst case scenario. Mm-hmm. Who is going to lift me? Who's going to want to even be around me at that point? So my whole point of doing the surgery was for my health, to continue to take care of myself, to get healthy, so that I can give my dad a good, healthy life as he's going through his end of stages, right? Mm-hmm. And that was the whole purpose for me. It wasn't really an aesthetic. The aesthetic was a plus, because then there's a whole other deal that comes with it. You have all this loose skin, and you have all the depression that comes with it.
But the energy that comes with it.
There's a lot of energy.
Sleeping, that you can finally sleep and rest, and hey, some people tell me, like, hey, I've never felt this way in my life. I'm running around, I'm playing with the kids, I'm doing this. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, weight does weigh on you, pun intended, right? Mm-hmm. But it does happen. And whether it's for aesthetics or for health purposes, I think they go hand in hand. Like you're saying, right, it's the plus. But yeah, I think if you feel good, I think you'll look good. I think it comes from inside. And once you feel good, I think everything just kind of, the same way with diabetes, if you don't feel good, I'm pretty sure you're not going to look good. If you look a picture of yourself, you'll be like, dark circles around your eye, you're tired, you're angry, you're making the face like I make when my sugars are high, right? You're not 100%. Your body's not 100%. So you're not feeling, no matter how much you say, hey, I had patients, hey, I work 2 jobs, I'm doing good, I'm not, nothing's wrong with me. I'm like, sure, your A1C is 13. I guarantee you there's things that are wrong. Right. And then you name this, and they're like, oh my God, I didn't know, right? So, but same thing, right? I'm open-minded to the surgery. I know it is a big cost to your physical complications that might come with it. Some people don't have really good luck with it. Some people do have really bad complications and really do suffer from it. Yeah. Most are okay. But yeah, it is but the health purposes, it's very good. Yeah. I think.
Another session of therapy for Moses. I'm talking about my
That's
issues.
Usually what it turns into.
It turns out to about my issues.
No, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, it's good. No, so again, tell us at the end of the day for you, where was it that you were diagnosed and you said, I accept the diagnosis as a type 1, or what was it that was it?
I think you had mentioned the doctor in Mexico was like, here, just take a little bit of this insulin. Was that where he was like, no, but you are type 1?
Yeah, so first time when I get diagnosed type 1, right, I freak out. I decline it. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do this. I didn't accept it. I was misdiagnosed as a type 2. Mm-hmm. So she, even though the doctor, I probably listened to me and saw me scared and just kind of said, hey, let's try this type 2 thing, right? And luckily for her and for me, we got like a year of like honeymoon. But she misdiagnosed me because a year later, things were not easy. Things were not the way they were a year before, right? So when I did meet the doctor and he explained to me in the honeymoon, he explained to me how things happen. He explained, hey, it's fine. You're here. Try the insulin. And then once I felt better with the insulin, when my sugars came down, I could think clearly, and it didn't take me 40 minutes to get dressed. Then I was like, hey, you know what? It's fine. I'm a type 1. And then also going through school, learning about it, and then seeing how my disease helped me with other people. It's like, man, just accept it. And I wear a badge. I probably, like Moses, talk about it every day about it with me. And then there's diabetes cards that help you out. It's like, hey, I'm not feeling well. I'm diabetic, so can I have a meal? Yeah, go. Grab a snack or grab. And it happens, right? But yeah, I mean, I'm proud of it. Life gave me lemons, and I made lemonade, I guess.
All right. No, but I mean, and it. So whoever's going to be listening to us and understand this, it's going to make an impact in their life, right? I always think, if just one person listened, we made an impact in their life. And I think it's one of those things that we're very good about denying things. We're always in constant denial, and not me. This could never happen to me, and all. I'm gonna live forever, and I'm healthy.
Yeah.
But I guess at the end of the day, the silver lining in for you has been, I made it a positive. I made it, and I learned it. I fixed it. I fixed it in a way that you were able to relate with it too. And now that you're able to share that with everybody else and tell them, hey, it's not a death sentence, bro. We can all work on this.
It's not. So one doctor, I think it was the first doctor that told me. I don't remember if he was. I think it was him. He told me, the one that diagnosed me as type 1, and he scared me. He said, diabetes is a life partner, right? It's like having a partner, a wife, a husband, a partner, right, or whatever kids are into nowadays, but a partner. If you treat it right, it treats you right.
Uh-huh.
If you treat it wrong, it treats you wrong, right? Si te trata bien, te tratas bien, te trata bien. Si te tratas mal, te trata mal. So then I thought, okay. So then thinking or telling people, letting people know that message after having lived with it 10 years, it's really important. It's a life partner. It's always with you. Every decision you make, it's with you. You can ignore it if you want, but you're going to feel the effects later on. But it's always there. It's having a constant weight. And if you guys do read that letter I write, it's very personal because it's always there. Like it's, like I in the letter, little spoiler, it says, you were there at my wedding with me. You were there with me. Like it's like as a person was there, something's with you because it is. Because you have to be worried, hey, did I do too much insulin? Did I not do enough? Am I going to be angry later on when I meet my suegros? And am I going to be as personable when I do the podcast? And I'm going to be, should I watch what I eat today? Because, hey, I got a date later on today. Every aspect involves nutrition and diabetes. So your life just kind of gets overtaken. But most days I live a normal life. I ran a marathon. I thought it was fairly easy to do with diabetes. Where a lot of people kind of get scared, like, oh, I can't do it. My sugar's going to be all over the place. It does go all over the place, but you can learn to manage it, right? It's hard enough to run a marathon, so diabetes is kind of, it's easier to manage enough to do it. But those little milestones that you do in your life with it, I think makes it that much special. And it doesn't have to change your life that much. I don't think it does. Might be biased, right? But
yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's all about change in what we want for ourselves, right? I hadn't gone to the so I have a theory that you go to the gym and you get sick because of all the germs. So then I hadn't gone to the gym for months. I had a surgery, and I need to recover. And I said, well, I'm not gonna go to the gym. So then finally a year later, maybe like 8 months, I started going back to the gym. And I got sick, so I stopped going. And then today again, I went back. But you have to make that conscious choice to get up in the morning and do and get ready and get everything ready and just go to the gym and do it. You have to. If not.
And I tell people, and if any practitioners are listening over there outside, don't do it, which is go exercise. It's easy. Go outside. When it takes you 40 minutes to get dressed, last thing you want to do is go outside and go to the gym or go to work out. You don't have the energy to even get up, much less, right? So come from a place of like, hey, I understand where you're coming from. Like, let's go easy. Let's start small. I'll get you there, right? It'll help. Ultimately, the best medication for diabetes I found is exercise. I mean, in the gym or outside or wherever you want to do it, but it's the best medicine. But if you don't have the energy, what's the point, right?
What's the point? I
can tell you 50,000 times to go to the gym, be like, dude.
Yeah, and Well, I use the gym, and normally thinking, I used to be, just in the recent years, I've just said I'm gonna get a membership. But before that, I would just go walk at the park, and I'd walk at the park around 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Super hot, the sun's bearing down, and the reason I did that was well, because again I get annoyed easily, but one of the pet peeves that I have. So you're walking on the trail, and then by if you go at 7 o'clock, all the families are out.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all walking at their pace, and I'm like, I'm doing speed walking, bro. I'm walking fast, and so that's why I started going at different times. And then finally, I just gave in, and I said, you know what? I'll just go to the gym. I'm gonna save my energy from not getting upset, and I still get upset anyway. But yeah, we have to make compromises in life.
And I mean, as long as you get it done, I think
Yeah.
it helps. But yeah, to anyone out there, go to the gym, work out. The gym's also a scary place. It's a place that gets you anxious. I don't know what to do. I don't know what machines to grab. I don't know what
Right.
to. Then you hear your neighbors tell you, oh, te vas a lastimar.
Sí.
No, ten cuidado.
Sí, ten cuidado.
Bro, I'm probably going to get injured more by being laying down in bed all day
Yeah.
than going
Yeah,
to the gym. But
you're right. The gym is very intimidating.
it is intimidating.
Yeah, I see the pros, what I call the pros, and they're lifting, doing all this stuff and whatnot. And I'm like, damn, like I can't go and do all that stuff. And first of all, I don't want to do all that stuff. They're doing it for a different reason.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to tone. I just want to make sure that I'm healthy. I want to make sure that I had a slice of cake, and I need to make sure I'm working it off, or all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's really hard, and it's
Odds are you're not going to get hurt in the gym because you're probably not going to be super crazy lifting, but it is very intimidating. It does give me anxiety. I don't know when I walk in there. I don't know what I'm doing. You obviously think everyone that's looking at you is judging you. Most people don't even care that you're there, but probably just annoyed that you're there because they don't have
Just
the
taking up
machines, but-
space.
taking up space, but a lot of people do go up to you and hey, kind of correct you and everything, but which is I think it's nice, and I think there should be more people like that. Maybe introductory class when you sign up and get you, hey, do these 5 things and then you'll be okay. But I think it shouldn't discourage people from showing up. A lot of group fitness classes nowadays, they're kind of the moda, and I think they're very good because they have an instructor there who tells you 45 minutes, you're jumping around, doing this, and it kind of walks you through the workout. It's better than no workout, right?
Right.
No.
Yeah, and again, you're right. There's that building up community, and saying, you know what, I'm with other people who are like-minded and doing, and we're all having our own struggles. And I've come to realize that we're all in a journey, and some of us might be in a boat, some of us might be in a bus, some of us might be just different things, but we're all trying to get there, and we need to encourage people to just not be afraid, man. Don't be afraid.
Yeah.
I think David can tell us with the gym, it shouldn't be as intimidating.
No, it's not. But since you were talking about like the group classes and they're kind of like in moda right now, what is maybe some diet trends that you've seen that are like trending that you're just like, what the heck is going on? Like, this is not like.
Very open-minded to the trends.
Uh-huh.
'Cause in my mind, they happen for reasons.
Or maybe some of them, or maybe something you've seen that's good.
So I listen to them, right? What happens with these trends, there's this thing called the healthy user bias. They all work for a period of time. Why do they all work? That's what my question was. When I see these, I'm like, why do they all work? Why does the carnivore diet work? Why does the keto work? Why does the vegan diet work? Why does the vegetarian? They all work for a period
Because you stick to them.
because they're all elimination diets, right? So you're all eliminating the junk food. You're probably working out. You're probably sleeping better. You're taking care of yourself because you're putting the effort in, right? So they all work because of this. So then you got to find what works for you. If I'm a person that hates meat, I'm not going to go carnivore because I don't like meat, right? Maybe more Mediterranean. I can mix a little bit, some fish, some veggies, whatever, right? Or maybe I can go vegan and do it the right way, right? But I can tell you, hey, go carnivore. You might do it for a couple of days and you're sure your body might enjoy it. But mentally, you're not there. So it won't last long because you're like, sure, I lost the weight, but I'm tired of this meat.
Yeah.
Right? So all these elimination diets, they work. But what does that tell us? We're probably putting too much stuff into our bodies and too much of the bad stuff.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why I see it. I'm very open-minded. When patients come, hey, did you hear about the Halle Berry diet or this diet or that diet? I'm like, hey, let's look it over. Let's see. You want to try it? I'll walk you with it. I'll walk with you through it. I'll tell you yes. I'll tell you, hey, maybe tone it down a little bit. Maybe yes, maybe no. But if you want to do it, I'll walk with them, and then we'll see where it goes. But for sure, I think it's the elimination and the healthy user bias that works. Hey, I'm not drinking anymore. I'm not smoking. I'm exercising. I'm eating portions, and all that makes you feel better, so it may work. But the key is long term. Think long term, not think a month.
Short term, yeah. And so, you talked about. Let's talk about protein real quick, because we're for me, I have to take a lot of protein drinks, or I try the bars. But here in the office, we all talk about protein. What's the best protein? What might be work for me, because I'm a bariatric patient, I have to have a different protein. But there's a lot of different proteins now, and everyone's trying to build muscle fast and not go to the gym or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. Can a diabetic take this protein? Can they not, or whatever, right? So just whatever pops in your mind on protein for you.
Protein is an interesting one. It's blamed for a lot of issues like gout and fatty liver, and they usually the saturated fat, which is usually red meat. Probably the best source of protein is going to be red meat, just because of everything that comes with it, all the minerals, all the vitamins, all the micronutrients that come with the protein, and it's very bioavailable, right? Red meat is. Eggs are another good one, which again get a bad rep for the cholesterol. Seafood is another good one again. I had a patient tell me, es que si como camarones me subo el colesterol. And I'm like, ma'am.
Or they're like eating them empanizado.
And I'm like, ma'am, no, but ma'am, how often are you having camarones, right? Shrimp. And she's like, oh, once a month. Well, it's not the shrimp, right? It's not the shrimp, right? So I tell them, go have the shrimp. Obviously, don't have the panizado, right? Don't have them breaded, but yeah, protein, we don't eat it as much. Our body has a natural stop to protein. Most of the proteins digest in the stomach. For bariatrics, they do struggle with that because you kind of take part of the surface area of the stomach, take it out, so then they have limited space for the protein. So they have to really encourage protein intake and do whatever amount they can fit. You probably want to be all protein, right, because you have very limited space, right? So, but we don't eat enough because the same reason why too. Hey, you want a piece of chicken? And you're like, ya me in it. Yeah. Our body had a natural stop because our body's digesting in the stomach and it's full. And hey, everybody's like, hey. But I tell you, after the piece of chicken, I offer you, hey, I have dessert. You want a piece of cake?
Yes.
Why do you say yes? Why does your body say yes?
It's a sugar addict, bro.
No, because our body doesn't have a natural stop to carbohydrates.
Right.
So body's like, yeah, I'll fit it. And then you'll be miserable for the next hour.
Because you'll find the space.
Wow. I didn't think
You'll
about
catch
it
a
that
second
way.
wind.
So protein's tricky because at that natural stop, at the price, protein is the most expensive macronutrient there is, right? And then at the cultural, where we weren't raised to prioritize protein. Mm-hmm. We were raised to beans and rice.
Yeah.
Tortillas. Hey, come tortillas pa que llenes.
Sí.
Filler.
Si no llenas.
It's filler.
Yeah.
I had a patient tell me once, oh, es que si no como tortillas no lleno. And I was like, sir, how many do you eat? Like, 15.
Oh, man.
And like, no, pues ni con las tortillas llena usted.
yeah.
Right? But for real, protein, again, our body kind of slows us down. It's expensive. We're not driven, or culturally, we're not wired to eat protein. So then we don't eat, and then add up all the misconceptions, right? The saturated fat is bad, the cholesterol is bad, all those things, it's going to be very limited. So as to what to eat, I would say more natural foods instead of the proteins. I mean, the protein shakes or any of that supplements. You always want to go food first. If you are struggling with, hey, I'm not going to eat a piece of beef in the middle of the day, well, then maybe have a protein shake, right? But again, a lot of those protein shakes are very processed. The ingredients are a mile long on the ingredient list.
Yeah.
Whereas red meat, you have one ingredient.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you can even get it cleaner if you want a grass-fed and
Yeah.
all these kind of deals. I'd say just get what your budget allows you to. But yeah, I would say prioritize protein like a bariatric patient does. Prioritize the protein. Your body will naturally tell you, hey, we've had enough. So once that's done, or what, we can close that. But for diabetics, it's a different story. Protein, if your body doesn't have the need for it, it turns it into sugars. Okay, amino acids.
Even the protein?
Amino acids, your body will turn them into sugars to store them. Because your body's not in an anabolic stage building muscle. It doesn't have the need for it.
Right.
So no, even if I eat 2 pounds of meat, I'm not going to build muscle because my body's not, I didn't stress those muscles, so I didn't tell them to build, and they're not in an anabolic stage, right? Anabolic means to build. So they're not building. So they're just, store it, right? Obviously, we don't eat as much protein. It's hard, like I said, all those stops that we have. But for diabetics, for a normal person, sure. your body turns into sugar, your insulin's there, covers it, it's perfect, we're good to go. We'll just gain a little bit of, maybe put it in the stomach, right, in the belly. For diabetic, your insulin doesn't work quite as well, so sugars are going to accumulate in the bloodstream. And you might seem a little rise. Depending on how insulin resistant you are, that's how much of a rise you'll see. For type 1s, it's really complicated. You have to bolus or you have to use your insulin for protein. So it's very important to that. Again, no free passes in protein. I wish it was. If you're building muscle, you get a lot more free passes in that sense.
So with someone that carries as much knowledge as you do into this field, can you give us an example of maybe, I don't want to say a diet, but like what do you recommend for your patients, or maybe even you can use yourself if you want?
Sure. Again, when I was in school with my professor from Nacogdoches, from Stephen F. Austin, she was like, my mom would ask me questions about nutrition, and I always end up saying, well, it depends. Well, it depends. She's like, well, it depends. And in this case, well, it depends, right? It depends we're like, okay, I don't like vegetables. Well, I'm not going to give you vegetables because you're not going to eat them, because you're not going to enjoy them, because you're going to hate me by the second day. Right. And you're like, this no sirve, no? Yeah. But, so I need to get to know you, see where you're at. I'll meet you where you're at, and we can start changing little things, right? I have patients who I love broccoli, but it bloats me. What does bloating mean? There's inflammation happening. Your body's not agreeing with it. There's probably an intolerance there. You probably have some sort of gut dysbiosis. Something's going on, right? So I need to know that. So I say, hey, I know you love broccoli. I know it's one of the fun veggies that we can have, and a lot of people enjoy it. You're not having the broccoli. If it's causing you bloating or gas or anything like that, you're not having it, because you're not gonna feel comfortable. All that inflammation is gonna drive different things, all these hormones, and you're not gonna feel good, and then again, it's not gonna last, right? So I would say what I recommend is I'll meet you where you're at, and let's say like I meet people that say, hey, I'm not hungry in the mornings. Well, let's just fast a little bit. Skip the breakfast. We'll go from there. But I met you. I can, if you're like, there's people that wake up and they're hungry, open their eyes and they're hungry. I'm not gonna ask that person to fast, right? Because he's gonna hate me, right? Yeah. So I have to go with whatever you give me. I'll try to put it together and origami something and give it back to you in a way that it works for you, right? At least to my best effort.
Right, and I think it goes back to one of the things that we always tell people. What works for your friend or your neighbor, it is not going to work for you. And just because you have the same symptoms that they have is not going to work for you. And you have them, whatever the doctor gave them isn't going to work for you. So I think everybody is unique in their special way. And the other thing is, we're not truthful sometimes with our own doctors.
That's exactly what I was going to. How honest are you?
Yeah, how honest are you? Yeah, we're not really honest.
There's some shame with diabetes. And if I ask you, hey, what was your sugar levels this morning? Odds are you probably tell me like 40 points lower than it was, right? Yeah. If it's 240, probably like, 180, 190, I don't remember, right? Yeah. I've done it. I do it all the time. I have a sensor, and patients see it sometimes. They ask me, hey, how does that work? And I show my phone, and some days after lunch, I don't want to show my phone, right? Right? But you have to, and be honest in that sense, like you're saying. But if you're not honest, well, I can't recommend to you to run 5 miles when I'm not running the 5 miles, and I don't know what's going on with my body, right? So, for sure, I like to experiment on myself. Some things, but I'm not gonna experiment. But yeah, for sure, don't listen to everybody because you don't know where they're at. They're not how truthful they're being.
Right.
So as a coming from a dietitian, if you offer alternatives, what do you offer?
As to
maybe to like somebody that has like a snacking thing,
sure.
Or maybe we can even also combine it with another one, which I wanted to touch on also, like artificial sweeteners.
Sure. So snacking's a tricky one. I don't believe in snacking. It goes against all of my Mexican colleagues, and they love snacking and 6 meals a day, and you eat and you snack, you eat and you snack. I don't believe in it. I think it's we're not honest with ourselves how much we have. Snacking So let's say I have snacking. I have a problem with food, right? I overeat, which is what got me here. So then you want to feel safe and have that snack. But if I tell you you're only having 7 almonds, does that snack really give you anything? Does that do anything for you, or does that just take away from you because you're like, I want more?
Yeah, it takes away from me.
So then are we going to open that door, or are we just going to, hey, I'd rather leave it closed and not go in today? And I'll forget about it 15 minutes. I'll have a big glass of water, and then maybe I'll distract myself going outside, and then I forgot about my hunger window that I had, right? Maybe. It is a personal challenge I give people. Hey, let's bring it down to one snack maybe a day. We'll give you a list of snacks you can have. Pick out from there, but only one. Oye, pero la fruta, what about fruit? Hey. So I try to challenge my patient. I tell them, hey, go on me on this ride and trust me. And then, hey, let's say you do lose 10 pounds that you want to lose. Well, we can try 2 snacks, and then we'll see where it goes. Maybe you can take it. Maybe you are exercising now by that time or whatever, right? But for snacks, I don't believe in snacks. We're never honest with how much we have. I can't personally have snacks because if I have a cookie, I'm not going to have it. I'm going to have the whole pack. And that'd probably put me down for a while. So I try to come from that angle of like, hey, if I can't control myself, and then most people that I talk to, they can't really either because they resonate with it. So I'm like, let's not even open that door, right? Yeah. Let's try. And if we are going to open it, I'll give you some, I guess, snacks that are quote unquote guilt free, although there's nothing guilt free. Everything comes at a price.
Right.
Everything has some sort of either calorie or your snack, or you're not going to eat the next meal as good as you were going to eat, and then that's going to be, you're going to be hungry.
There's drawbacks to, yeah. Okay.
So I don't believe in snacking. I work with you where you're at. If you're a heavy snacker, we'll work on what we can do. But yeah. And then artificial sweeteners. Artificial sweeteners, bad rap, stigma. Man, all these headlines come out every 2 months.
Yeah, there's a new study.
I had a different one.
Yeah.
There's this artificial sweeteners have been on the market for a long time, like Sweet and Low. The other ones are kind of newer. I don't particularly have a favorite. I like some of them have a stronger taste than others. In reality, what the test tells you or what the science tells you is that they're thousands of times sweeter than sugar. So you can't compare one packet of sugar with one packet of Splenda because you're not going to like it.
Right.
And you can't expect it to taste just like sugar because it's not sugar, right? So you have to tell patients, hey, I know you don't like Diet Coke. I know you, but you're having 7 Cokes a day. We got to do something else. I'm going to give you that sweetness. It's not going to be Coke. First of all, you got to accept that it's not going to be Coke. Once you accept it, then okay. So what artificial sweeteners do, most of them, or I think all of them, they don't get digested in your body, right? They taste good. Your body's a tube, right, like a donut. In one hole, out the other hole. Right? Sorry for the lingo, but science. It's for science. So then, this is an example. I haven't found a better one, but this is what I tell my patients. With Splenda, you eat Splenda or drink it. Everything else gets taken to the blood. Whatever fits in the vessel, the blood vessels, it gets absorbed. Protein, fat, sugars, carbohydrates, all that, right? Splenda doesn't. Same way you see the corn after you eat it, right? You see it. Mm-hmm. Same way you see Splenda. You can't see it, but it's there.
It's there.
Right? So I think for diabetics, it's a very good option. Very good. Obviously, you're not going to abuse it because it might cause some gas or some digestive discomfort, but as long as you're doing moderately, I don't see an issue with it.
Yeah, that's the approach I take. I was maybe selfishly asking. That's the approach I've been taking because I get a lot of at the health fairs. Unfortunately, the people are already like, "Well, I'm already a diabetic," because we have a beverage kit that displays like some of our favorite drinks and how much sugar's in them. But I wanted to get your perspective on it because I mean I do. I'm like, well, look, if you're telling me you're drinking, I have the bigger Cokes, like the liter ones or whatever, and like. If you're telling me that a Coke Zero will prevent you from having this much sugar, because we have the little sugar tube, I'm like, do it, do that. I always tell them, don't let that outweigh your water intake. Like if you're having as much Coke Zero as you are water in the day, yeah, I'm like, probably not. But if that's what's helping you kind of wean off of that.
So think about, I always come from this cultural aspect and think, hey, how did we grow up, no? At least in my home, we grow up with big Coke in the middle of the table. Everyone's having Coke, right? Benfria with the hielitos coming out. And it's really good, right?
Like on the commercial.
And we grew up with that, right? So asking a person that's been doing it for 50 years, 60 years, ask, hey, stop drinking Coke, drink water with your meal. I'm going to ask the person, whoever, do you enjoy eating your meal without the Coke? It's not the same. Let's just be honest. Some people do because they never probably got into it. But it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same, right?
Yeah.
So if the fizziness and the little sweetness of it with a Coke Zero, with a Diet Dr Pepper or whatever, can get you there and maybe not take away from you, since you're already changing so many things that I threw on you all these alternatives that I had. Hey, have more broccoli, have more protein, less carb. I've already changed your world. I took away the tortilla, and then I'm asking you to get rid of the fizziness and the good Coke and the after, the good. But I'm not. I'd rather have you at Coke Zero, and you're like, you know what? I enjoyed my meal with this Coke Zero, and I know it's not causing me harm, or at least not as much harm as that you're saying the sugar.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of them. I know there's limitations to everything. Like I said, everything comes with a price.
Right.
But for diabetics, I think it's
a game changer, maybe.
It is. It's a good tool to have and good things to believe in. It's hard for diabetics, from that I've seen, to believe in them because they say, "No, hombre, es peor. Te hace peor. Está más dulce."
Yeah.
But then I got, this is why I explained the corn example, and like, it's coming out, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think it's funny that you talk about the Coke deal, because we grew up with Kool-Aid.
Mm-hmm.
So we controlled how much sugar went in there. And we had to make sure every week there was a 5-pound bag or 10-pound bag of sugar in the grocery cart. And it didn't trigger me right now until you mentioned that. And the other thing that I grew up with, back in the 70s, was Tang.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if people remember Tang. But
I remember
still
Tang.
around,
yeah, and man, that thing was sweet. You could put so much into it to make it as sweet as you wanted. I mean, we you were talking about Moses traumas again, but Postostes cereal.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a Total brand, and it was an unsweetened.
Okay.
So what did you go? You go to the sugar and
easy one, yeah.
yeah, man, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, life's crazy. And then we've been experimenting too. Last year we experimented with the CGMs.
Okay.
We got one for everybody, and we wanted to see what. Well, just to something's happening with my thing, right? But see what it does with our food, and we learned that all of us would eat the same thing or something similar, and we all had different triggers.
Everybody has a different level of insulin resistance. I think the cause of all of this is insulin resistance. So big important factor there for insulin resistance. Maybe it's not even, sometimes diabetes is not about just eating the wrong things. It's a combination of things, right? And exercise will play a big role into this and how to solve it. And I can't give you everything, but for sure insulin resistance plays. That's why everyone has a different level of the way the food interacts, right? And digestive time, like for you, might be faster than for him. So maybe he'll see the peak 2 hours and a half, and then you'll see it at an hour and a half.
Yeah.
What happened, right? So with the patient that's on insulin, you have to time those according to what their body's telling you. Hey, my system's digesting is lower. Did I eat a very heavy fatty meal? Or my stomach is gonna take it slower, and I want to digest too much, and CGMs are good, great tool for diabetics. It can really be I don't know if it's me, but
there's a buzzing. I don't know what it is.
it can really show you what happens with me while I was going through school and learning about diabetes, and I made the mistake to think that corn tortillas were better for you than flour tortillas, right? Everyone tells you, no, hombre, la de maíz, no comes de maíz, mejor, no comes de harina, right? So with the CGM, I realized the corn were just spiking me more than the flour tortillas.
Wow.
So just every person is different, and everybody will kind of see it differently. But just opening your eyes to different things like that, like corn tortillas or rice. I don't have rice anymore because it's just too starchy and it will spike me through the moon. So just seeing those things, I think it's a great tool to have, especially because you don't want to be poking yourself, right?
Right. And for me, I think we all have a different experience, and I haven't written my blog on it yet, but for me, what really was a behavioral change on my food intake. It really, really helped me understand that what I thought was being healthy for me was actually not being healthy and giving me a counter, and then I had to change my whole eating habits. And now I even when I go, I prefer not to go out to eat at restaurants, but I do it because of work or do it to be social, but I'm extra careful with the foods now because I know what triggers me to have.
It's really eye-opening. I tell patients, if you can get it. If the doctor will prescribe it, your insurance or whoever's paying for it can pay for it, go for it because it will open your eyes. And hopefully nowadays they're becoming more available, and we're getting them like the Stellos, and you don't have to be diabetic to get one.
Right.
Like, hopefully people get more
and they learn from it. I think that's the main thing that not to make people feel bad. Going back to your point, right? We don't want people to feel bad, but we have to take it with a grain of salt and understand that this is going to be a learning tool. so that you can eat healthier, stay healthier, and change those modifications in your life. And that's the way I think of it.
You can do it. I mean, the regular person without a CGM can do it with a glucometer, but it's easier with the CGM, and it does change your outlook on things, and it does keep you honest. I think
It
is what
does.
happens,
It
right?
really
And
does.
shoved it in your face like 170 for 2 tortillas. Oh my God, I'm not having 2 tortillas anymore, right? And it does make you feel a little bit of guilt, and it does make you feel you might not share with the world what you saw, right? But at least to yourself, and if you are being honest with you, caring for yourself, you will use it, and I think it's a great tool.
All right.
But yeah.
Awesome. Some really great insight here
I
from
think
this
we could
conversation.
talk forever. We could talk forever.
I can
Reyes,
do
you're
it.
such an easy person to talk to, bro. You
Yeah.
can we can pull you on your all
Yeah,
night
there's so
long.
many things we
I can do it. I can talk about nutrition and diabetes and life even, and we can get philosophical about everything. But no, but for sure, it is important to take care of yourself. It is important to be honest with yourself and understand that, hey, I'm not a regular person. I am diabetic. I am feeling. My body will tolerate different things different ways. So being honest with yourself and making those little modifications, finding help, whether there is a doctor, a nurse, the Wesley nurses, a dietitian, whatever you have access to, use it, learn, CGMs, glucometers, whatever you do, it will help you. And being curious about the disease helps a lot. There's a lot of information online. Listening to people's stories helps a lot, and kind of, so yeah, probably this podcast probably will bring us a lot of guests that will kind of share their insights, and it will probably help a lot. So
Yeah.
Awesome. Any other questions, Moses?
No,
before I
I'm good.
start?
I'm good. I'm good.
So we always like to close out with a one question for all
Okay.
our guests that join us on the podcast.
Okay.
And that question is, what does success look like to you?
success. Success. I think success to me is those moments where you're not thinking about the outside world, right? The other day I read a post that said, it's funny how when you're in the movies, you just kind of going through this portal and you just forget about the world for a couple hours. That feeling of just walking out of theater and you just been in your own, I guess, distracted by the movie or in your head or whatever, just kind of not thinking about your issues, your problems, the world's problems, the this, the that, the war, not the war, the insulin prices, the everything, anything, right? That they throw at you and the propaganda and everything that's going on. I think just being, whether it's at home and putting the phone down and just being present, being able to be present, to me, that's success. Whether it's in tu casita, in tu traila, and wherever you are at the park walking, at work, if you're able to be present, to me, you're successful. Because it's not easy with all the distractions, with all the problems, with our own issues, our own personal problems. I think that's the easiest part, and I think that's what success is to me, just being able to be present.
Awesome.
Awesome.
So is there anything you want to plug before I take us off here? Anything that you have coming up or where people maybe can find you, anything
Sure.
like that?
No, I do want to post this letter. I'm kind of proud of it. It was I wanted to do the office on February 14th, 2025, my 10-year anniversary. And then I sat down and I looked at my glucose monitor. It was 184, I think. And I was like, man, what are the odds I'm high today? Like, just of all days today, right? So I started writing, and I wanted to kind of theme it as a love letter to diabetes, and hopefully people enjoy it, and hopefully it kind of resonates with people, and they kind of see the way it kind of follows you around and shares the moments with you, or you share the moments with it, or her, or him, or whatever you want to name it, diabetes. But yeah, hopefully, I mean, you guys might. I sent you guys can share it and repost it, whatever.
Send it to us.
But yeah, nothing really coming up. I do work in a virtual firm. You guys can see me there on Facebook. Probably have. Most people have. And yeah.
Awesome. Well, on that note, we want to thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Unidos Unplugged. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope that you can join us on the next one. Thank you.